Hey everybody, today I wanted to talk about 3 Rolling Stones albums that I have on my website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. They're all 3 up there right now, and I wanted to take some special time to talk about each one individually. So first, let's start off with this one. This is Exile on Main Street. This is considered by most to be the Rolling Stones' best album, and I would agree with that. It's definitely my favorite Rolling Stones album. It's a double album, and most of it was recorded in France at Keith Richards' house. And the reason they called it Exile on Main Street is because at the time the Rolling Stones were having a lot of money problems, a lot of tax problems with the UK government. And also, Mick and Keith had been arrested for drug possession. So they really felt like exiles. So they went to France and recorded their new album there. They also went to Los Angeles, by the way, and added a lot of overdubs as well. But most of it was recorded in France. And this is a record that I have loved for a very long time. I've gone through a lot of copies of this because it's hard to find it in good condition. I think it's partly because a lot of times the actual vinyl that the Rolling Stones records were pressed on, it tended to be not the best for some reason, and it seems to always be pretty noisy. At least that's what I found when I've been collecting them. Also, I'm sure it's because people just loved the Rolling Stones so much and these records that they played them to death. So it's hard to find copies in good condition. This one is in excellent condition. And on top of that, it just sounds amazing. And I'll tell you why it sounds amazing. So first off, I've already taken all the insides out because I want to show you exactly what you get inside here. And this, by the way, is one of the coolest things that you get inside. These are the original postcards that came with the album. And I think I don't know exactly how many are. There's like 16 of these, and this thing goes a long way. But these are actual postcards. They're very cool. It's from like a photo session with the Rolling Stones. And it's just really cool to have this with that set. So those are included. And then, of course, you get 2 original inner sleeves, which are very cool as well. There's one, and there is the other. They're in very nice shape. Now, let's talk about the actual records. So, you get 2 records because it's a double album. And we will first talk about this record number 1. Or actually, we'll just talk about one of the records because they're both obviously identical as far as how they look. So this is on Rolling Stone's, their own label, Rolling Stone Records. And the key thing about Exile on Main Street is you want to find a pressing that has the Artisan Sound stamp on it. And this record has that stamp on all 4 sides. Artisan Sound stamp is just the way you want to hear this record. It has excellent sound. And the key thing about this record for me is that it's a very diverse record. It's a double album, obviously, so there's a lot of material on here. You get full-on just like early rock songs, almost like early kind of punk rock songs with a song like Rip This Joint. Then you get like deep kind of like blues grooves with Ventilator Blues. And then you just get like straight up Rolling Stones rock that you're used to, like Tumbling Dice, Keith Richards' song Happy. It's just packed full of excellent songs that are very diverse. And when you have an album that has such diverse songs, it's sometimes hard to find a pressing that creates the sound and makes the sound even and just a very pleasant listen. This pressing does exactly that. Has really solid high-end clarity, which I think is so important when it comes to the Rolling Stones. Sometimes with Rolling Stones records, a lot of the times the high end can be a little distorted, and that can either just be a pressing flaw, or the record's just been played too much, or it could be a mastering flaw. With this record, none of that is present. The high end is excellent, it's crystal clear, no distortion, so that's a big plus. And it just sounds very good. It's just got an excellent low end, an excellent high end. I just love it, and I think you will too. So if you've never heard Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones, hearing it on vinyl is, in my opinion, absolutely the way to listen to it. They did put out, I know, like a reissue of it maybe a couple of years ago or whatever, which with a lot of bonus tracks, and I do like the bonus tracks. They're very cool. but I didn't actually like the remastering that was done to the digital release. It seemed a little overcooked to me, and it lost a lot of the original like just warmth. And I'm assuming that's because this is an analog recording, so the way to listen to it is on vinyl, which is just translates that beautiful warm analog sound. So this is the Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street. So check it out on needlemeetsvinyl.com. I did a whole big write-up about it. You can read a lot more. And give that one a look. Next one I want to talk about is this Rolling Stones album. This is called Some Girls. And this album is considered by some to be one of the Rolling Stones' last great albums. This is released in the 1970s. What year exactly? Yeah, 1978. And it's a very, very, very good album. It has a lot of hits. Probably the biggest hits on here is the song Miss You. Also, the song Beast of Burden, which is one of my favorite Rolling Stones songs. The guitar work on Beast of Burden is unbelievable. This happens to be one of the later pressings of it, because you can tell because there are some blocked out faces. Originally, this cover had like Marilyn Monroe and Lucille Ball and I think Elizabeth Taylor, but the Rolling Stones did not get permission to use those images, and so early copies of it did get images with those on there, but then later copies, the people said, nope, we don't want to be on there, block our faces out. So that's what they had to do. But this record is a fantastic sounding record, and part of the reason is because this is a sterling pressing of this Rolling Stones Some Girls album, and it sounds so good. This is the best copy of Some Girls you will ever hear. It's got just an electricity about it, and it really, really, really rocks. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is when you are looking for pressings of records to look in the dead wax and see the information that's in there. Because I went through a bunch of copies of Some Girls, and for some reason, some of them don't have the sterling stamp on there, and they just don't sound as good. This one has it, and it sounds so good. On top of that, it's in near mint condition. It's really, really flawless. Has an excellent sound. And like I said, the song Beast of Burden on here will blow your mind. The two guitars working together, it's just some of the best stuff you've ever heard. If you love guitar and you love the guitars interweaving, and Keith Richards and Ron Wood, who's on this album, they are both just masters of that. So check this one out. This is Some Girls. And last but not least, this is the Rolling Stones album Beggars Banquet. And this is kind of a tricky one when it comes to finding the best pressing of this. Now, a lot of people will say that an original UK pressing of this is the way to go. And I've heard some of those copies, and they do sound very, very good. Granted, they are always very, very expensive and extremely hard to find in good shape. This happens to be a US pressing of this album. Now, a lot of people knock the US sound qualities of some of the Rolling Stones albums, but this one, I have to say, there's just something about it, and it sounds excellent. It's on the London label, the London Blue label here, and it's just got a very, 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 very rockin' sound, a very high-end, the high-end quality is great. A lot of these pressings, the high-end, again, just seems to be lacking. It distorts, or it just sounds too thin. On here, that's not the case at all. It absolutely, absolutely rocks. And I'm trying to look here so this is a best way pressing. And the best way pressings, in my opinion, sound so good. And this one is exactly that. It sounds so good. And on top of that, it's in such good shape. It's very, very hard to find this album in near mint condition, and this is one of them. So I just can't say enough about this album. It's got so many amazing Rolling Stones songs. It's got Street Fighting Man. It's got Salt of the Earth, which is one of my favorite songs. It's got Factory Girl. Sympathy for the Devil, No Expectations, Dear Doctor, Parachute Woman, just a classic Rolling Stones album. So, and on top of that, it's the last Rolling Stones album that Brian Jones really had much of an impact with. Yes, he does appear on, I think, just like one song on their next album, Let It Bleed. But this is the last one that he was a full-fledged Rolling Stones member, and he was actually kind of contributing to it a little bit. A lot of people consider this the Rolling Stones' best first studio album. Granted, they had a lot of great albums before this as well, but this is kind of when they started on that amazing run of just fantastic albums with Beggars Banquet, Let It Bleed, Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street. It just goes on and on from there of just amazing records. And on top of that, this is produced by Jimmy Miller, and Jimmy Miller is responsible for all those albums I just mentioned. He was the producer for those, and him and the Rolling Stones, when they paired up, they really made some great music. So these are the 3 Rolling Stones albums that I wanted to talk to you about. Let me grab this Exile on Main Street just to put it in here. And if you're looking to add to your Rolling Stones collection, this is a good place to start, because this is probably their best album. This is one of their best albums, and this is also probably one of their best albums. They have a lot of best albums. Just an amazing band, and always good to have some Rolling Stones albums in your rock and roll collection or your record collection. It doesn't have to be rock and roll. It could be any genre you want. So go to needlemeetsvinyl.com and check it out. And I gotta say, thank you to everyone that's been so supportive. I know I say this, I've said this in the last 2 videos, but I gotta say it again, because so many of you that have bought records have been leaving really amazing comments in my YouTube comments, and have just been sending me emails and Instagram messages that you love the records. That means so much to me, because it's one thing to go out and find these records and then list them on the website. It's another thing for people to actually get them and actually can hear what I'm hearing and are buying something that they know that is exactly as I described it. And I'm so proud and so happy that people are enjoying the records. And just keep going to the website and keep checking out, because I'm adding new records every single day. I have so many records to add. In fact, I can give you a little bit of a sneak peek of some records that will be going up very soon. I'm going to put up this other copy of the German Revolver that's on the blue Odeon label. This is the one that was almost as good as the one that I just sold. So this will be going up for a little bit of a less price, just because it's not obviously as good as the other one, but it's so close. So that'll be going up very soon. Then I'm going to be putting up this Badfinger album, which is so amazing. It sounds great. This is Straight Up by Badfinger, with some songs produced by George Harrison, and engineered, by the way, by Jeff Emmerich, the Beatles engineer, who also engineered Revolver famously. This Steely Dan album, Katie Lied, will be hitting the website very soon. An excellent sounding copy of that. This amazing record by Nina Simone. This is Nina at Newport. This is an original first pressing, and it's unbelievable. So keep an eye out for that. And then I found this copy of John Wesley Harding by Bob Dylan, and it is the best copy I've ever heard. In fact, right now on the website there is a copy of John Wesley Harding up there, but it's a VG++. It's got a little bit of surface noise. This one doesn't have any surface noise, so this one will be going up in addition to the other copy. So stay tuned for that. And I will also be having a giveaway very soon, another giveaway contest, and I will be giving away these records. Bob Dylan, Desire, excellent record. Rolling Stones, Tattoo You, and Derek and the Dominoes, Layla. These 3 albums, I will be having a giveaway for these, so stay tuned for that. I will give you more information on that contest. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I'll let you know. So that's it for now. Thank you so much. Make sure to go to the website, needlemeetsvinyl.com. Check out those Rolling Stones records I just mentioned. And that's it for now. So hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. And I will talk to you all very soon. And yes, before I go, one more thing. More Beatles records are coming to the website, including Help, including McCartney's first album, McCartney, and maybe a little bit something extra special coming as well that's Beatle related. So stay tuned. Okay, that's it. Bye for now.